This tutorial demonstrates how charter seniors can apply to the University of Maryland, College Park. This process is unique to College Park because they do maintain their own system for applying, since they do not use the common application. But our students have to undertake a process that begins in Naviance, just like every other college that you apply for. So you first have to make sure that when you log into Naviance, that you've actually requested the transcript for the University of Maryland, College Park. This process will be different for other University of Maryland schools like Baltimore County. This is just for College Park. So when I'm in my account, I would click on Colleges, and in order to make sure that I've submitted the transfer request, I need to go to my sort of dashboard by clicking on colleges I'm applying to. Here I can see the colleges that I've requested transcripts for. In this column I can see that these are all requested. If it wasn't requested, it would be in red and it would say not requested. Also, I always want to make sure that all my deadlines are accurate and that there actually is a deadline. Now, I made a purposeful mistake here in adding College Park and choosing the type of deadline as early action. College Park has a November 1 deadline that you need to meet if you're an out-of-state student, but it is not considered early action. So as a result, it does not show any deadline here because it doesn't exist as far as they're concerned. They actually call that deadline priority, not early action. In order to change that, if you've already requested the transcript, you would just go over here to the Edit Pencil button, click that. I would scroll down until I see the University of Maryland. Then there's a drop-down menu that I can select. You'll notice here that there's no college deadline listed, but once I select priority, that deadline will populate. Then I need to scroll to the bottom and click to update applications. Now, if you haven't requested a transcript at all, of course, College Park wouldn't be there at all, in which case you'd have to go here and follow the normal procedure to request a transcript. Also, before continuing on this process with College Park, you have to make sure that you have requested letters of recommendation, and that's also from this same page. You would scroll down and check to see if you've requested any teacher recommendations. If you haven't, you can go ahead and add those requests there. But now, once we have our transcript requested in Naviance, we also have our letter of recommendation, or the invitations that we've sent out that you can see down here, then we can actually move on to working on the University of Maryland application. So you'd want to go ahead and to their website, since they have their own application system. It's up here. It's admissions.umd.edu/apply. Then from here, you're going to have to create an account if you haven't already. I have, so I'm going to go ahead and enter my PIN here. Well, it looks like I have an old PIN. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my PIN, my password. Now, once I'm logged in here, I'm going to click on Edit Application for Freshman Admission. And of course, you're going to complete this whole application as you normally would any other application. What we need to make sure to work on, because they kind of hide it at the bottom down here, under important links, is to click on recommendations. So you want to go right here. Whether or not you've completed these sections, which you will eventually need to, for now you want to click on recommendations. Then you click on recommendation provider list. There's some good instructions here that we are following. Since we're using Naviance, you have to enter recommender information and then select no. And I'll show you where that is. So recommendation provider list, then you click to add a provider, and then you have to ask one teacher and one counselor. The counselor is always mandatory, and then the teacher you have to decide. So you'd enter the teacher's name, all this information. You'd fill it out for the teacher, and then you would select no right here. will the provider be submitting a letter of recommendation online? The answer is no. Now, in reality, we are submitting it online. It's just going to be via Naviance. But for Maryland's purposes, since we're using Naviance, along with dozens of high schools in Maryland, they really want you to select no here. And we, charter students, must select no. If you don't select no, it's going to generate an email to a teacher asking him or her to upload a letter via this Maryland system, and that teacher will not comply. So please, because we've told them not to, so please go ahead and select no after entering all of this information above about the teacher. Then you're going to go back and do this again for the counselor. When you're entering the information, you always want to use the street address for the teacher would be just the Charter School of Wilmington's address, which is 100 North DuPont Road. So you'd be using this address right here. You also want to use this phone number, 302-651-2727, as that is the main Charter School of Wilmington phone number. Then you enter their information down here. Make sure the name of high school is correct. The title should be either teacher or counselor, whichever you're entering. Then the relationship to you will be essentially the same thing, but if it's a teacher, you can specify the subject they have taught you. Again, you scroll down and select whether or not you want to waive your right. Most students are selecting no, for good reason. Also, will this provider be submitting a letter of recommendation online? Again, this is where you must select no. And then you can go down here and click Add Provider. Now, the one final step you have to do, aside from finishing the application yourself, is that after you've submitted the teacher and counselor requests in this system, what we just showed you, you're going to have to go ahead and email your counselor to explain exactly what you want, which letter, essentially, which teacher letter you have entered here. The counselor needs to know that so they can then submit that letter via Naviance. They won't be informed through the system now. So again, once you are complete with this operation we've just discussed, you have to go ahead and email your counselor and say which teacher letter of recommendation you want to be submitted for your University of Maryland College Park application. Counselors are knowing to look for this email. If they don't receive it, they will seek you out. However, keep in mind how many applicants we have to Maryland. So it's very important that when you're completed with all this, you literally just log out of your application on Maryland's site and go right to your email and email your counselor and tell your counselor which teacher letter you want to go to the University of Maryland College Park. And that completes the process that you have to go through to do this unique application for University of Maryland.